Welcome to the show. I am excited to have special guest Blaine Oelkers on the show. Blaine, welcome to the show.
Jeff, thank you for having me on. I love that introduction and I love what you're doing. Now, look, this takes time to put these things together. And, I'm going to talk about my hidden edge, but I want to acknowledge you for the time, effort to put this stuff out there. And I'm going to go on record as saying you are touching lives not yet born. Somebody's not even born yet. They're going to come along 20, 30 years from now. They're going to find these hidden edges and it's going to give them the boost they need at the right moment. So thanks for what you're doing and happy to be here.
I'm grateful for those kind words, and that gives me goosebumps when I think about that, because there's nothing like having an impact on future generations. So let's dive right into your hidden edge, hacking your head trash. Such a relevant topic as we begin the year. People set goals, set targets, missions that they want to accomplish. So I'll let you dive in. How'd you discover that edge? How'd you cultivate it? And then we'll dive into it.
Yeah, so for me, I had a few moments of dawning comprehension, where the light bulb goes off and you're never quite the same again. And so the first one actually occurred for me in college. And I saw this ad for, you could send away, I'll date myself here a little bit. You could send away for an audio cassette tape. So some of the listeners will know what that is. Many won't. But anyway, it's a little audio program that you played on a little device like a Sony Walkman. Anyway, I sent away for this tape, which was Earl Nightingale reading the book Think and Grow Rich. And so I listened to that tape and I bought the book. I read the book. And it was in the reading of that book that I had this first kind of moment of dawning comprehension. And I made a little acronym, YTABA. What you think about, you bring about. And so I realized that everything kind of starts with a thought, and that you can dictate your thoughts. Now, you can't dictate circumstances like what happens in the world, but you can control your reaction to that, and you can control what your mind looks for in the world. And so that set me on a kind of a path of self-development and growth. And so I ended up realizing that why I'm on the planet, which is always fun when you finally realize that. And so I realized I'm here to help people take control of their lives by taking control of themselves. And I started a company to do that called Selfluence. And I started helping people, and I was helping people get a lot of results. And they said, hey, we're going to call you our chief results officer. And I'm like, hey, I like that. So anyway, no one else had that term. So I did get the registered trademark on it. But now, since 2009, all I've been doing is helping people kind of take control of their lives by taking control of themselves. And the thing that stops them the most is their head trash. And so there's a great quote that I read once: when you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. Right. So I'm to this, I'm to that, and I hear people, myself included, constantly kind of arguing for our limitations, and that closes the door immediately. So I realized right away, if I'm going to help people get results, I've got to start to work on the head trash, the self-doubt. We all have it. Luckily, doing some of the things I'll talk about today, you can keep it quiet and you can keep it in the corner, but it's always going to be there. So you really have to have some tools to deal with it.
Right. No, I love that story. And, congrats to you for, hey, in college saying, hey, I want to get this audio cassette tape and learn a little bit and start that journey of personal growth. It's the greatest gift, I say, that we can give ourselves. And I tell people I pay my sons $10 a week to meditate. And yes, they have some chores, but part of what they do on a daily basis is they meditate, they gratitude journal, they do these things that set them up for success. And that's so vital. So head trash, you have it, I have it. We all have that internal negative voice that, to your point, is arguing for our limitations. How did you start to dive into hacking your head trash? And then what were some of those lessons learned that you applied to when you were working with clients?
Yeah. So everything that I like to talk about is like very like practical, self-evident. You try it, it immediately works. There is science behind it all, and there's a whole science now called positive psychology and how you can rewire your brain and how the neurons work and all that stuff. But let's just talk practical stuff, because what I did is I figured out, okay, what is working for me, and then I would test it on clients, mostly business owners, and figure out, does this still work for them? And so there's two areas of the head trash. One is you need some tools to hack your head trash like immediately, like in the moment, when you are mindful of the trash itself, of that voice. You need some tools to hit that, and hit that hard, and actually to flip it around, so that instead of working against you, your brain is working for you. So we'll talk about the tool that works the best for that. And then the other set of tools, which are more broad, and you can use them, and they kind of layer on each other a little bit, are proactive tools, things you can do that keep the voice very low, or in the corner, or maybe even non-existent, right? So let's go over the first one to switch it around. So you have, this negative stuff, like, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time for my business. I don't have enough time for my family. I don't have enough time. Now, when you say I don't have enough time, you're arguing for your limitations. You're telling your brain you don't have enough time. And your brain says, yeah, you don't have enough time. You're trying to do this and that and this and that. And you're this and that and you're that and you're this. Man, look out. Here's what you do. There's a quick way to turn it around. And what you do is you but yourself. So, and then after you but yourself, you can start butting other people. But what you do is you just add those two words, but, and then you pause for a moment and let your brain switch to the other side of the net, right? So I never have enough time. But I control my schedule. But I can delegate. But I could time block. But I could use the 80-20 rule and get rid of 80% of what I do and focus on the 20% that makes a difference. So what happens is the but gives you a little time for your brain to switch and start to give you the answers, the things that are going to help you. And it's great to give other people in your life permission to but you. And when you start doing it with other people, then you kind of even turbocharge it a little bit. So does that make sense? So to kind of but yourself, to then start to see the other side?
It does. It makes total sense, because when you're saying I don't have enough time, you're putting that closed loop and that limitation on what's possible, where it sounds like but is opening up that door a little bit for the mind to process, wait a second. But I do have control over my schedule. But everybody does have the same 24 hours in a day, right? You're opening up that door to possibility rather than the limitation.
Yeah. And it's kind of a way to flip the fixed mind into the growth mindset, right? So it's really a great technique. And then, just like working out in the gym, the more you do it, the faster you say it, the faster it turns around for you. And so another kind of a side thing to that is this concept of affirmations. Now, have you ever heard of that? Have you heard Noah St. John before?
I have not.
Okay. So this is a kind of a corollary to the but. Anyway, so affirmations, where you affirm something, right? Like, I have enough time. I have enough time. I have enough time. I have enough time for the important stuff. These are positive statements. And initially your brain says, no, you don't. No, you don't. So it's a little tough sometimes, but affirmations, they work. If you say them long enough, and maybe record them in your own voice, you can begin to reprogram yourself. Now, affirmations, that's affirmations. Affirmations are where you put it in the form of a question, again, to kind of flip the fixed mindset into the growth mindset. And you put it in the form of an empowering question. So this guy, Noah St. John, he kind of came up with this. So it's a new word, affirmations. Someday it'll make it to the dictionary. But basically, you would say something like, why do I find it so easy to manage my time? Why do I find it so easy to manage my time? Because, and then you let the answers come, right? So again, it's opening up your mind. Why do I find it so easy to hire the right people? There are times as a parent, I have to say, why do I find it so easy to love my children? And then it switches me, when they do something wrong, switches me back. So that concept of putting it into an empowerment, why do I find it so easy to eat healthy? Right? Because I threw out all the junk food, because I started an exercise program, because I hired a trainer, again, all the answers start coming to you. And the key with the but and the affirmations is to take action on the thoughts. Don't let them just sit there, right? So what you think about, you bring about. So there's a big component there. Nothing happens, till you take action, right? There's 3 birds sitting on the tree limb and one decides to fly off. How many birds are on the tree? 3. One made the decision. He didn't fly yet. He made the decision to fly. He didn't do the flying, right? So you still got to, do the thing to get the power.
Gotcha. No, I love that distinction you have between affirmations and afformations. One of the things I picked up that I just wanted to call out because I'm aware of it, but I'm sure listeners aren't. You mentioned recording your own voice, saying these things. Why should you, or what's the science behind that? I always find that interesting.
Yeah. There's some great science behind you, and whatever you're trying to bring about, like I call it your bring about statement. So whatever you're trying to bring about in your life, your voice, your own voice is believable at kind of a subconscious level, right? A
Right.
subconscious level. So you hearing yourself saying things like affirmations or afformations, either one of those, your own voice. And now with cell phones, it's so easy just to record your own voice, and make some recordings. What I used to do before I had that is I would call myself my regular phone voicemail, and I would leave this kind of empowering message that I wanted to hear over and over. And then every day when I checked my voicemail, I would listen to that message and resave it, right? So I could hear myself every single day. Some people start it first thing in the morning. They listen to that recording of themselves, but your own voice has a deeper, trust factor and meaning to yourself than other voices. The other interesting thing too is there's an interesting correlation between your brain and writing, right? So if you write out, like I have a daily day design sheet and I write out my bring about statement, the thing I'm bringing about, I hand write it out every day. And that handwriting, accesses a different part of the brain than you just like reading it on a typed thing that you print out every day, right? It's also goes a little deeper if you write it in cursive. Right. So I have to look up how do you do the cursive J, capital J and stuff. So, but it's interesting because it accesses a different part of your brain. Right. And then if you write it, if it's a short sentence, then I write it with my non-dominant hand. That's even accessing a different part of their brain. Right. And some people take it further. They write it they write it by looking in the mirror. And that, so you're kind of writing it upside down and backwards. Anyway, so there's lots of different ways to have fun with the brain, but know that those small things are very helpful to your brain, especially even like pushing off, Alzheimer's and different diseases because you're firing different parts of the brain. Like I always tell people, brush your teeth with your other hand, a couple of nights, or move the mouse. Like I move my mouse from my right side to the left side, back to the right side. And that all those things are helpful because the brain has a high degree of flexibility and plasticity that we didn't think. Like when I took science, it was like you only have so many brain cells, you can't build new ones. All that, kind of crazy stuff is now out the window. And now they're measuring this stuff very succinctly because the technology is allowing they can measure like the formation of thoughts. They can measure, they figured out how habits are created and this thing called mylation, like where this insulation goes around the neurons so that they, go faster and without you having to think about it. So anyway, cool science stuff, but bring it back down. I like the practical. Let me try this right now. And it works.
Yeah, no. And I love how you talked about recording your own voice. And I love to give the analogy of there's a centurion guard at your brain's door, right? And when it hears your own voice, all of a sudden it opens the door and says, go ahead into the subconscious, right? So you actually get that deeper feeling and then writing out things. I mean, I know there was a study done by a Virginia Tech professor that said you're 9 times more likely to hit your goals and targets when you physically write them down versus just kind of having them and not seeing them every day. So definitely love those pieces. And thirdly, love the action step, right? So many people hear something, they're listening to this podcast and they don't take action. Please take action. If you're suffering, and there's a lot of people out there that are stuck that have head trash, use what Blaine is giving you right now and start. It's not going to be perfect, but if you start and you continue to do it over and over again, you're going to get better and you're going to start seeing results. So love those nuggets. So if I was somebody that just had this negative voice over and over again, and I couldn't get past it, or I felt like I couldn't get past it. Obviously you gave some low hanging fruit. What are a couple other things people can do? I know you mentioned kind of some proactive tools that they can leverage and use? What are some proactive tools that they can put into place?
Yeah, yeah, great question. And I like to say the solution to pollution is dilution, right? The
Okay.
solution to pollution is dilution. A lot of people remember the old science experiment. You got the beaker with the dark liquid, and you pour the clear liquid in. It gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And if you pour enough clear liquid in there, it becomes clear. So it's the same thing. You got to pour in the positive. Now, everyone's going to have a different ratio. Like when I was younger, and I hadn't done a lot of self-development, if I had 1 hour of like total negative victimhood, pity party, I might need 10 hours of positive pouring, right? To dilute down that negative. Now I'm probably like 1-to-1, or maybe I could get by with a little less than 1-to-1. But back then, audio tape time, I used a program called Jim Rohn. This is my favorite mentor is Jim Rohn.
Yep.
And he has a program called The Power of Ambition. And I listened to that thing more than 50 times, so much so like the audio quality started to go down because I listened to the tapes so many times. But you got to figure out ways to pour in the positive. And what I like to do is the number one thing, like practicality, the number one thing that has worked is this concept of a mind meal, which I kind of, or maybe you might want to think of it as a mind shower. But every day you feed your body, you eat. You could do some intermittent fasting, which we both love. But at some point in the day, you're feeding your body, right, with some fuel, and you're eating. Most people also take a shower every single day to clean the dirt off the body so it doesn't smell. Well, it's the same thing for your mind. Your mind needs a mind meal. I call it a mind shower. So every morning I wake up and I do, I have this framework called 21-second habits, how to create a new habit in 21 seconds, not 21 days. And part of that is what's called habit linking. So you link the new habit to a habit you're already a master at. And so for the last like 1,700 and I'm on like at 1,752 days, I think it was, or something today. I've had a mind shower, right?
Mhm.
And so a mind shower is where you wash out your mind of that head trash, right? And you quiet down all those voices. And there's different apps you can use for that. The app I use the most is called Headspace. You mentioned meditation, right? So meditation, It's a meditation app, but it allows you to kind of calm your mind, clear your mind, see those kind of bad thoughts as almost like passing clouds, let them float away, set your intention for the day. There's another app I use called Calm. There's a Christian one I use called Abide. There's a great free one called Insight Timer, which you can actually even do these mind showers with other people live. I mean, so there's a lot of resources for you to take that mind shower, to wash out that mind shower. And so what I did is I habit linked that to the opening of my smartphone, which happens every morning without me trying. I don't have to do anything. No willpower required. First thing is I open that phone. Why? Because my son lives in Denmark, so I got text messages in there. I want to check orders that have come in and emails and investments and all kinds of, like, the world is waiting for me. And I actually surf the urge to want to check all that stuff, to force myself. I use the energy of the desire to look at all that other stuff to push me in to do that mind shower, right? And so that works for me. So the habit linking, the earth surfing. So I'm doing that every single day. And if you do nothing else but set aside, I like a 10-minute mind shower, but if I'm short on time, I'll do a 2 or 3 minute one. It still works well for me to clear out the garbage thoughts, release those limitations. I might have to but myself a few times in there, but then set the intention for the day. Set I call it the lens of the future. Set that lens that you're looking through, because that probably will be the most important thing on what shows up in your life that day is going to be based on kind of what you're looking for.
No, I love that. Love the concept of the mind shower as well as the lens of the future. And a couple of common themes I've heard. We go to the physical gym, but so many people don't hit the brain gym, right? And now we know neuroplasticity, the brain, you can build new neural networks over time if you continue to do them. The myelin, we won't get too scientific, but the sheathing around it builds and it happens so much quicker. It's much easier. The mind shower, there's another rep that you can get in, right? When you're building that mental toughness, when you're hacking your head trash, those are all components that Blaine is describing that you can do rather quickly, right? You just said, hey, if I don't have 10 minutes, just 2-3 minutes. And I was having this discussion with my wife over the weekend because we set goals as a family, and it was a great thing. My son's 14 and 12. We all got down around the kitchen table and we're writing out our targets and goals. And, she was asking me about meditation, and she said, I know you do 10 minutes a day. Do you consider meditation 2 to 3 breaths? I said, absolutely. If you are practicing just breathing in, focusing on the temperature of breath, or using Headspace. I use Insight Timer, so love that app. You are getting a rep in. That's a rep that you should celebrate. So I love how you said either 10, 2, 3, whatever you have, just get it in. And those are reps. Those are, muscle building for the mind practices that you can get into.
Yeah, 100%. And these mind meals, right? Feeding your mind, proximity has power, right? So if you get around, and you could be physically or just through audio. I listen to a lot of Jim Rohn programs. They're on YouTube. You can get them on Audible, but just listening to that, pouring that stuff in. And when I set up my day, I also look where in my day, and everybody has this, where in my day can I get my mind meal? Because I can do something else while I'm feeding my mind, right? So if I'm exercising or if I'm driving, hey, I've got driving. I skip the 80s rock music. Sometimes I need that to lift myself back up. But I skip that and I go for the mind meal, podcasts like yours, right? Mm-hmm. Where can you slip that in? Doing chores, right? Exercising. If you're eating a meal alone, I love to get my mind meal in then. But I can guarantee you there's room for a 15-minute mind meal every day in your day somewhere. So just be, mindful of that and put it in there and make it easy. Because you just mentioned something that this is so key. You have to win early and win often. But if you can dial down the resistance to where you just do the thing, right? Like you said, dial it down to meditation, just 1 minute. I love when mentors say, I want you to start with 1 minute a day. Yep. And if you can't do that, then 10 seconds, like whatever it is, so that you win, and then you build it up, from there. Same thing with exercise. People say, I'm gonna do 30 minutes a day. Oh, great. Okay, let's check back in a week. They did it 2 or 3 days. I said, take it down, right? To where you definitely know you can do it every day. And or have it link it to the shower. Before you get in the shower, do 5 push-ups. It counts. Let's go. Let's win. Let's move forward.
Yeah, no, I love that. Make it easy, simple, almost that it's laughable, and then you're going to be able to get it in and get it done. I also, love how you spoke about just feeding your mind with positivity. We're cut from the same cloth. I just got out of an ice cold shower. I had the speaker on to a YouTube video that I was listening to on positivity. You have so many gaps. I tell people the same thing. Gaps where you can feed yourself positivity, eating, driving, shower, exercise, all those things. So love it. Blaine, this has been an awesome discussion. I love the tools and tricks and strategies you gave the audience. Where can people find you? Where can people look you up?
Yeah, the easiest thing is I did a TEDx talk about White Table, what you think about, you bring about. And so people can just go to BlaineTEDx.com. So BlaineTEDx.com. There you can opt in. You'll get a copy of the talk, and we'll be connected. You have my email. And if I could serve you in any way, happy to do so.
Awesome. Blaine, thanks for being on the show.
All right. Thank you a lot, Jeff. I appreciate it. And I'll leave the listeners with this. The bad news is time flies. The good news, you're the pilot. So pilot well, my friends, pilot well.
Love it. Great closing thought. Have an amazing day, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Rise, fight, love, repeat. Get after it. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to your Hidden Edge podcast. You are now part of the movement, part of a tribe who's on a mission to uncover their hidden edge. We're stronger together. So please share this. Show up with one person in your network that you want to help. Together, we can empower others, and connected, we can make a dent in the universe.